Hi, my name's Al and today I'm going to show you how to service the air can on your Fox rear shock. Fox recommend a super regular service schedule on your rear shock. We're talking about every 30 hours, but the best thing about it is that it's really easy to do and you don't need many tools. In fact, you've probably got pretty much everything that you need already. A rag, some paper towels, some float fluid, which either comes in a big bottle, which is better value, or these little sachets, which cost like a couple of quid. A small screwdriver or a pick if you're going to replace the seals. If you are replacing the seals, which you only really need to do if the shock's old or it's leaking air, then there's a bag of seals. Shock pump, piece of inner tube which will help you to remove the air can if it's particularly tight, and some alcohol for cleaning, and that's it. As with all suspension servicing, you've got to make sure that your work area is good and clean before you start. The first step, very important one, is to release all of the air from the shock. Don't attempt to remove the air can without removing all of the air. Make 100% sure it's all gone, or it'll go bang. Before you start the service, make sure the outside of the shock is clean. Remove the O-ring, which you use to check your sag, and preferably clamp it in a vise or a workmate. Some frames you can leave it clamped in so you can undo the air can, but it is easier to remove it from the bike altogether and clamp it like this. If the air can is rather tight, then you might find that wrapping some inner tube around will give you a greater purchase and make it easier to crack open the air can. Before you undo it all the way, it's a good idea to shove a rag through the lower eyelet. If you do have any air trapped in the can still, perhaps in the case of a stop down shop, then the can's not going to go flying off the end. So that's that undone. With the can undone, we can now remove it from the body of the shock and give it a really thorough clean. It's also important that we clean the body of the shock. Basically, spend a good bit of time making sure it's spotless. So with everything nice and clean, we can go ahead and replace the seals. Obviously, you're not going to bother replacing the seals, just give them a good clean and we can move on to the next step. The most important seal is this here, which sits on the body. You can remove that easily with your fingers. And these two bushes here, which are split, so they pop off very easily as well. With them removed, give their seat here a proper clean. And we can lubricate our seals before we fit them. So a bit of float fluid, make sure it's properly covered onto the body. Make sure it's not twisted or folded and it's the right way around. Then we can fit our bushes. And that's those replaced. We can go on to do the air can itself. So the main seal that keeps all the crap out is that one. It's normally pretty filthy. And then inside we've got two bushing rings and a main seal. Now It's important when we remove these that we don't scratch any part of the shock. So that's the actual air seal out, and then we've got the two bushing rings. Unfortunately these aren't split, so they're a bit harder to remove. There's one. And there's the other. And we can give their seats a proper clean. Once we're happy that they're clean, again, lubricate the new seals, fit them into place. If you pinch this seal and guide it in with your finger, it'll go in fairly easily with no tools. Same with the bushing rings. Pop them in one at a time. Feed them around. There's one either side of the seal. Make sure they're properly seated all the way around. And then fit the wipe seal. So they're all renewed, no tools have been used to refit them, so there'll be no damage to those seals. Now we're ready to refit the air can. We want a couple of cc's of float fluid in here. It's basically half the pack. Or if you bought a big bottle, just a couple of cc's from the syringe. Put that in there. Push the can onto the body, make sure that the seals haven't rolled over and it's fitted properly, and then a couple of cc's go in the top here, and then it's time to screw the air can into place. Make sure that any pro pedal or lockout or anything like that is turned off, because that's going to make it more difficult for you. And wind the rebound on as much as you can. It's just going to make the job a little bit easier for you. You can compress the shock and screwing the air can into place. It doesn't need to be ultra tight. You don't need to use tools. If it's a bit greasy, a rag will do. Make sure that the eyelets are aligned, and if you've got a separate high volume sleeve like on this shock, it's all aligned so it looks nice. So that's it, we're all done. Just give the shock a good wipe down, refit your O-ring, inflate it to the correct pressure for your bike and your weight, pop the dust cap back on, refit any hardware that you may have removed to get the air can off, get it back on your bike, go and hit the trails. Thanks for watching, cheers, see you next time.